Colombia's President Gustavo Petro has very strong words for Donald Trump. This after Donald Trump put 25% to 50% tariffs on Colombia. Petro then retaliated with 50% tariffs and said the following: Donald, you don't like our freedom. Okay, I don't shake hands with white slavers. Petro went on to say, you will never rule us, Donald. You will never rule us. He also said the following: yeah, Donald Trump ordered the foreign trade minister to raise tariffs on imports from the U.S. by 25%. The ministry should help direct our exports to the whole world other than the United States. Our exports should be expanded. In other words, their coffee, their flowers, their plants, all of the things that they import and export, cut the United States out of their trade. Also, Petro said the following: Colombia now stops looking to the north and we look to the rest of the world. He says, I am informed that you impose a 50% tariff, Donald, on the fruits of our human labor to enter the United States. And I do the same. In other words, putting 50% tariffs on the United States. Let our people plant corn that was discovered in Colombia and feed the world. Also, Petro reposted the following: Atención. And this is to the Community of Latin American and Caribbean States. CELAC is the organization. The CELAC president has called for an urgent summit on migration and tensions with Trump. The Community of Latin American and Caribbean States will address the migration crisis in Latin America and the Caribbean. That organization is led by the head of Honduras. In addition, the president of Colombia reposted the following: if a state is truly sovereign, it is impossible to see it on its knees. And so all of MAGA and Trump world was trying to brag that, oh, look, Colombia caved. Donald Trump threatened 25 to 50% tariffs, and Trump sent mean tweets saying that he was going to sanction Colombians in the United States and freeze bank accounts and expel all Colombian diplomats from the United States. And then Colombia said, okay, well, we're going to send our presidential plane to pick up the migrants that you wanted to deport. That's what Colombia said they wanted anyway from the outset. What Colombia was pissed about when Colombia closed its airspace to the United States military was that it was the United States military. Colombia said, don't shackle or put our citizens or put Colombians in handcuffs and put them on military planes and treat them like war criminals and send them back and not respect their dignity as human beings. They said, look, if you're putting the people on commercial flights and you coordinate with us on a bilateral basis, then we're okay with that. We've always been okay with that, but we're partners. We're to be treated with dignity as a nation, and our people are to be treated with dignity. We have 15,000, 16,000 Americans who have overstayed their welcome in Colombia. We deal with these things like grown-ups and adults, and we don't use our military, which the United States of America is doing. So Colombia sent its plane, picked up the migrants in the United States, and then it imposed its own 25 or 50% tariffs on the United States. Now, they're one of our biggest suppliers of coffee and a bunch of other products as well. And so it's going to be felt. If you're a coffee drinker, if you're, landscaping, because they do a lot of plants, a lot of vegetables, fruits, you're going to be in a lot of trouble right now. Let's take a look at Petro's full statement here. Trump, I don't really like traveling to the U.S. It's a bit boring, but I confess that there are some commendable things. I like going to the black neighborhoods of Washington, where I saw an entire fight in the U.S. Capitol between blacks and Latinos with barricades. which seemed like nonsense to me because they should join together. I confess that I like Walt Whitman and Paul Simon and Noam Chomsky and Miller. I confess that Sacco and Vanzetti, who have my blood, are memorable in the history of the USA, and I follow them. They were murdered by labor leaders with electric chair, the fascists who are within the US as well as in my country. I don't like your oil, Trump. You're going to wipe out the human species because of greed. Maybe one day over a glass of whiskey, which I accept despite my gastritis. We can talk frankly about this, but it's difficult because you consider me an inferior race, and I'm not, nor is any Colombian. So if you know someone who is stubborn, that's me, period. You can try to carry out a coup with your economic strength and your arrogance, like they did with Alandi. But I will die in my land. I resist torture. I resist you. I don't want slavers next to Colombia. We already had many and we freed ourselves. What I want next to Colombia are lovers of freedom. If you can't accompany me, I'll go elsewhere. Colombia is the heart of the world, and you didn't understand that. This is the land of yellow butterflies, of the beauty of Remedios, but also of the Orios Bonita, of which I am one, perhaps the last. You will kill me, but I will survive in my people, which is before yours in the Americas. We are peoples of the winds, the mountains, the Caribbean Sea, and of freedom. You don't like our freedom. Okay, I don't shake hands with white slavers. I shake hands with the white libertarian heirs of Lincoln and the black and white farm boys of the USA, at whose graves I cried and prayed on the battlefield, which I reached after walking the mountains of Italian Tuscany and after being saved from COVID. They are the United States, and before them I kneel, before no one else. Overthrow me, President, and the Americas, and humanity will respond. Colombia now stops looking north, looks at the world. Our blood comes from the blood of the Caliphate of Cordoba, the civilization of that time, of the Roman Latins of the Mediterranean, the civilization of that time who founded the Republic, democracy in Athens. Our blood has the black resistance fighters turned into slaves by you. In Colombia is the first free territory of America before Washington of all America. There I take refuge in its African songs. My land is made up of goldsmiths who worked in the time of the Egyptian pharaohs and of the first artists in the world in Cliboquet. You will never rule us, the warrior who rode our land shouting freedom. Our people are somewhat fearful, somewhat timid. They are naive and kind-loving, but they will know how to win the Panama Canal, which you took from us with violence. 200 heroes from all of Latin America lie in Bocas del Toro, today's Panama, formerly Colombia, which you murdered. I raise a flag, and as a Gaetian said, even if it remains alone, it will continue to be raised with Latin American dignity, that is the dignity of America, which your great-grandfather did not know and mine did, Mr. President, an immigrant in the USA. Your blockade does not scare me because Colombia, besides being the country of beauty, is the heart of the world. I know that you love beauty as I do. I do not disrespect it, and you will give it to your sweetness. From today on, Colombia is open to the entire world with open arms. We are builders of freedom, life, and humanity. I am informed that you impose 50% tariffs on the fruits of our human labor to enter the United States, and I do the same. Let our people plant corn that was discovered in Colombia and feed the world. Meanwhile, the White House posted Donald Trump's Truth Social post and says, in case you missed it, here's President Donald Trump's truth on Colombia sanctions. They can't even spell Columbia correctly. They spell it like Columbia University or District of Columbia for no apparent reason other than the fact that I find this meme funny. I want to show you this photo of Gavin Newsom pointing at Donald Trump wearing his high heels. Again, nothing to do with this video, but I find that photograph to be funny. Here's Donald Trump's post. While Donald Trump was making these posts, he was golfing all day. That's what he spent the day doing while putting the United States into a trade war that's ultimately going to raise our prices. Secretary of State Marco Rubio bragged about today's actions, showed this is Trump's unwavering attempt to try to stop illegal immigration. Who is this ultimately helping? President Xi Jinping. You see him there with his official state visit to Colombia. You see Xi Jinping. You see President Gustavo Petro right there. And as soon as all this was going on, you had one of the foreign ministers of China reach out and immediately make a post kind of mocking the United States and letting the people of Colombia know that they are there. This is for the Colombians. China's ambassador to Colombia posted the following. In my interview, I emphasized that as Foreign Minister Murillo said during his visit to China in October last year, we are at the best moment of our diplomatic relations between China and Colombia, which are now 45 years old. So it's only going to benefit China, who's going to take the leadership and pretty much already has in this quick week already, or week and a day. They're taking the leadership role, making alliances with all of these Latino countries. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 4 million subscribers. Tell me what you think. We're going to be seeing a lot of these Latino countries everywhere from Mexico and then down to Central American countries, to South America, Caribbean countries. You're going to see them all joining together to oppose Trump. And then as Trump tariffs Mexico, Canada, and our European allies, America's going to be left with like literally zero friends in the world. Great work, Donald. Great work, people who voted for Donald. I'm being sarcastic. We need to build this YouTube channel. It's critical. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 4 million subscribers. Thanks for watching.
Can't get enough Meidas? Check out the Meidas Plus Substack for ad-free articles, reports, podcasts, daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, and more. Sign up for free now at MeidasPlus.com.